This video is brought to you by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. Hey, my name is Jobby, and we'll be taking a look at the CDL-01 RC. This was a production sample, so that's why it came in a baggie. And the big Firebird EX01 Plus Mooka. Or is it Mocha? Am I just saying that because she's black? A double review of two lovely ladies. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Are you sure you're ready to take a look at these hoochie mamas? You remember what happened last time? Yes, I'm sure. And I'm honestly quite done with being horny. You know, ever since that video, just this whole lower area here that you can't see is completely numb. Because I beat it to death. I can't feel a goddamn thing. I'm ready to go in, coach. No bills off my wallet, as long as you get that sponsor in there. Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. Tokyo Treat is a monthly Japanese subscription box full of the latest exclusive and seasonal Japanese candies and snacks. Like Japan exclusive Kit Kat, ramen, a bunch of popular stuff. And Sakura Co. is also a monthly Japanese subscription box, but with a focus on authentic, traditional Japanese snacks from Japan's local artisan snack makers. Plus one special Japanese tableware every month. Both are delivered straight from Japan to your door, and both boxes have a different theme every month. These are the boxes for September. Do you remember? You get September's theme if you order in August, October's theme in September, etc., etc. Both September boxes have a beautiful design based around tsukimi, or Japanese moon viewing. This moon, not that moon. Celebrates tsukimi with Tokyo Treat through this Moon Festival Munchies box, which contains a variety of tsukimi-inspired snacks, such as Salt Lemon Kit Kat, Mikan Mochi, and Full Moon Pon Cracker. Thick boys, ain't they? Tastes like some Texas toast. And speaking of Texas toast, what the hell does Texas corn pizza got to do with tsukimi? I think it's my duty as an American to try it. Ha! That's some good eating. Makes me want to exercise my Second Amendment. Meanwhile, Sakura Co. celebrates tsukimi through their Kyoto Moon Festival box. Partnering with the local Kyoto government, they invite you to experience the cultural and culinarily rich snacks of Kyoto, the birthplace of Japan's tsukimi celebration. These snacks pair nicely with some Gyeonsujiri Hojicha tea included in this month's box. In this case, I'm gonna try it with some Mangetsu Pon Amakara soy sauce. What a beautiful night it is tonight. The stars are up, the moon is shining bright. I've got a good view of it tonight. And if you wanted to know more about any of these snacks, there's a booklet explaining every snack included in both boxes, which also has a lot of information on Japanese culture. You can learn all about tsukimi through these two booklets. So check out the links in the description and use my code JOBBY to get $5 off of your first Tokyo Treat order and $5 off your first Sakura Co. order. Same code for both links. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. So check the description for time code so you can watch these reviews in any order. But let me tell you right now, the review for this gal isn't gonna be too long because it's pretty much the same exact figure as the original NICEE. Full disclosure, I did get this thing for free and it is indeed a knockoff. So consider buying it, links in the description, at your own ethical peril. Let's get this fin attached. And the painting and sculpting on this thing is awesome. The sculpt is identical to the original NICEE, but the paint job is a little more flat. Unlike the robot mode, we'll get into that. And I mean flat compared to NICEE. That figure had a really cool metallic sheen, but here you get a more plasticky look despite the majority of this figure actually being painted. Durable paint, as you just saw there. So for a knockoff, it really doesn't feel cheap. Although I do miss the clear parts at the front of the car, but you do get some clear tail lights, and also the cussy, and a clear blue windshield adds some visual variety. If you wanted to know more about my thoughts on this mode, go check out that original NICEE video. Trust me, you will not. not regret it. You'll regret it immensely. But my overall thoughts on this version, it looks good, but not as good as the original. However, if you keep in mind that the original concept for this design was supposed to be a third-party RC, then the color scheme gets a lot better because you see, the main point of interest with this release in particular is a brand new head sculpt. And before we get right into that, we'll do a quick size comparison that's not psychotic. Here's Figma-matic Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime, Mastermind Creations Azalea, NOT Arcee, and a figure that I really should have taken a look at a long time ago. Stay tuned. So, not much to say that I haven't already said. Looks really nice, rolls really well, and has a rear end that can make a grown man lose his will to live. And speaking of losing your will to live, if you want to see the transformation for this mode, I suggest you check out my previous NICEE review. One of my favorite and most emotionally painful transformations I've ever done, and it's a good time to plug my brand new transformation playlist. But none of that here, let's just get this thing transformed. And her robot mode is where the differences between this figure and the original NICEE figure really stand out. Where the hell did you come from? I thought I buried you in my backyard. But so far the differences don't seem to be too major. I mean, the color scheme is a lot different, brighter, pinker. However, as I mentioned earlier, you just rip off her head and replace it with this NOT Arcee head. And now I could truly say that the robot mode for the CDL-01 RC is complete. What a great look, and this head sculpt should have been included in the original release. It's what we were promised, dang nabbit. But I suppose Big Firebird wanted to go legit and decided to change course, made the NICEE design a wholly original thing divorced from Transformers. But as I mentioned before, this girl here is a knockoff. So you know, no honor among thieves. Again, if you're thinking about getting this figure, just know what you're getting into. But I do have to say, for a knockoff, this doesn't feel too bad, but you just saw there that it ain't perfect. The original release is definitely a lot more solid. While this isn't completely a piece of spaghetti, okay, I kind of take that back. Doesn't hold together the best, but it ain't the worst either. The joints, while being pretty stable on their own, are subtly but noticeably looser than the original release. But nothing too bad. It even features some die-cast metal, just like the original. And just like the original figure, it's not as articulated as I would like it to be. And if you wanted a full breakdown of this figure's posability, check out that NICEE video. Emphasis on breakdown. But look at me now! Ain't therapy great? And by therapy, I mean alcohol. And also, like the original figure, she comes with a few accessories, which unfortunately, a good portion of them are broken. Now, I don't know if this is due to a lower quality of plastic, which is definitely possible, but I gotta be honest with you, the actual plastic doesn't feel brittle here. So what was most likely the culprit is the manner of packaging. Seriously, this production sample was just a tiny, raggedy cardboard box containing the plastic baggie that you saw. And this is coming from a company that couldn't stop getting on my ass about getting this review out. They really wanted me to review this thing, which is why I'm doing them a courtesy and reviewing it now instead of saving this for NNN. But even then, this review's still late as fuck. I'm good at my job. Anyway, this sword and arrow should look familiar to anyone who saw the original NICEE video. Same exact accessories, even including the same exact hands. This attachment, which allows her to hold her back kibble as a bow. You can plug this part into her arm, just like the original. And, of course, the all-important squishy chest. Fuck! I would coom if I had any still left. It's just as bouncy boinky boinky as the original, but if you notice, a bit dirtier. And I'm not talking about the dirty that gets you banned on YouTube. Reminder to support me on Patreon. Might be due to the type of rubber this figure uses or the manner of packaging. But there's a bit of dirt stains that are hard to get out. Gives me an excuse to rub on them. Probably should come off with a bit of soap and water, but I'll just stick with the code heart chest for now. And that's where the similar accessories end. This figure comes with the whole new blaster, which I guess is supposed to look like G1 RC's gun. And that should plug into the trigger finger hand, and I recommend the utmost caution here. Probably should warm that up with a hairdryer for a few seconds. Would make that a lot more flexible to shove that gun in there. You definitely don't want to force it. Look at how thin that thing is. I'm surprised this thing didn't break off. But once you get it in, looks good. Feels good too. And her I'm telling you, that just doesn't plug in that great. Her final accessory, you get a whole alternate head that includes a visor, painted up in a really nice metallic paint, and of course, it's a G1 reference. Really appreciated, really liked the look of this figure. Also, I lied about this being the last accessory. For some annoyingly vague reason, you get an alternate face that's probably not compatible with this head. I don't see anywhere to remove anything, so it should be for this head, right? Why is it exactly the same? Just knock off things, I guess. And yeah, once again, not much else to say that I haven't already said. Good looking figure with some decent amount of accessories, if they weren't broken, and a good alternative to the fairly pricey original. This gal ain't a walk in the park either, but it's relatively cheap. Links in the description. The G1 head itself is worth it, IMO. And if you're curious, this head is compatible with the original figure, although it looks completely out of place. Do we really need a size comparison? Let's just do it. Figma Model Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Transform Element OP Leader, my previous review, the Lego Optimus Prime, and as if you needed more comparisons to the original, the Big Firebird NICEE. I personally prefer the original release as its own original concept, but as a third-party RC figure, this is the tops. But you do you, and I'll do the Big Firebird plus Mooka, our next review. The Big Firebird EX-01 Plus Mooka is a certified black repaint of the original NICEE figure. Official Big Firebird product, not a knockoff, and once again, I did get this one for free. Links in the description. God bless you, Shozy Store. And right out of the box, I gotta say that I might like this one a bit better than the original. Oop, excuse me guys, something just moved on there. Boy. While the painting and the sculpting on this figure is similar to the original NICEE, it's got some notable differences, obviously. The painting here is really well done, has a satisfyingly shiny metallic sheen, and features some nice new decals, some of which are strategically placed. According to my highly advanced knowledge, that is what you would call a womb tattoo. Don't ask me about the kind of hentai I watch. And right at the head here, a 01 Plus, just to confirm what figure you're playing with. And on the topic of decals, you do get the option to apply some.
And you hate stickers, right?
These are water slide decals, which are actually pretty good.
Oh, sweet.
But I still ain't gonna do it. On the topic of strategic placement, the placement of the color here makes it look more like she's wearing a classic bunny suit, as opposed to a two-piece whatever this is. And I kinda like the bunny suit look more. For obvious reasons. That'll become more relevant later. I really like the color scheme here. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but the pink and the not quite black, it's more of a deep purple, work together really well for me. But what doesn't quite work for me is the back kibble. I just don't think it looks that great, and I had the same issue with the original NICEE. Take a drink every time I say original NICEE, but the kibble on this girl is even worse. Chunkier, heftier. I especially hate how it blocks her ass. But fortunately, as you can tell, she does a great job at standing up despite that. So while I don't like the look, I can't be too bothered by it because it doesn't affect the balance at all. If this is a little too much for you, there is a feature that this figure has that the original didn't. It is hinted at on the box, but it isn't mentioned anywhere in the instructions. Professionally printed and full color pictures, but not perfect at explaining things. At least they spelled instruction right. Let's transform her a little bit, and this part are actually detachable C-clips. Although you wouldn't know it because of how tight the fit is. At first I thought these pictures were false advertising, complete bullshit. But then a lot of people in my live chat said otherwise. Subscribe to JobbytheHong for streams. So you're really just gonna work at it and... A feature this important should have definitely been in the instructions. That is an L for you, Big Firebird. Are the kids still saying that? So just work that and you'll eventually get that out. And this whole chunk of coal doesn't go anywhere. And plug this right back in there. Let's remove this for an even cleaner look. And now she's just a really good looking but standard non-transformable action figure. The positives outweigh the negatives. Great option for people who need it, but the back kibble then becomes a certified case of parts forming. Also, the back kibble is as unwieldy as it is because the alternate mode mode is really something else. But before we get into that, we have a lot of accessories to cover. Quite a bit more than the original NICEE. On a side note, do not try to remove the back kibble from the original NICEE. The kibble is solidly pinned in there, no C-clips. But if you really wanted to, you can mod it so that it is removable. Kuma Style has a great video on that topic. Anyway, accessories. You get a pair of ears and a tail ribbon thing that allows us to put the bunny in bunny suit. It's a cute look, but the bunny ears don't do a great job at sticking on the head. And the bow is a bit of a tight fit and a bitch to get off. Beware of paint chipping. Her bangs are removable. Jesus Christ. Her forehead's as big as shiny as mine. Her face is removable for no reason at all. You do not get an Ahegao face with this figure. You can't always win. But you do get a pair of shades. Super tiny pair. Very easy to lose, just don't. And that should plug into her head somehow, but it seems like such a bitch to get it on. Guess it doesn't plug in, just sits there. Put the bangs on before they fall off again, and yeah, not a bad look. Is it weird that I just noticed that her head sculpt has a whole French maid thing going on? Jesus, these guys were horny. And for a final point about the head, you actually get an alternate one. Neck ball joint stump included, but I don't recommend you remove the whole neck ball joint. You could imagine that being really annoying to get off of there. So just remove it like that, and that plugs in. Cool look, not my type. Don't even know what I would call this type. Shy girl, sad girl, step on my balls. The bunny ears can plug in here too. And just in case you're curious, she actually does have real eyes under there. Just kind of hard to see. Also, it is compatible with the original figure. Not really. Very loose fit. Weird that the knockoff has a better fit with the original than the official Big Firebird product. Food for thought. And there's quite a lot more food for this thought. That sucks. Same exact variety of hands you get with the original NICEE figure. You even get the same kind of bow attachment. This feature's not in the instructions, but whatever. But instead of just a blaster, a sword, a shield, you get two small swords. That fit right into her grabby hands. But if you don't want her holding them, she could hurt herself. Shit. You can store both swords in this really cool looking shield. Looks like something out of Digimon. I don't know why I even brought it up. No one cares. This whole attachment's a separate piece, but assembly is straightforward. You want to be careful with the painting on these swords. I hope they don't chip over time. The handle plugs into her hand, and that plugs into her arm. Very nice, very cool. Still can hurt herself, so why don't we stash this away on her legs? Very loose fit, but no worries. You get an included clamp that does a great job at securing it. Cool looking weapon storage, and I always love me some weapon storage. But if that shield isn't to your liking, you always get this one, which is pretty much an alternate version of this from the original figure. Kinda gives you an idea of how different the alternate mode's gonna be. Plugs right into the arm again, and doesn't look bad, but the other shield looked better. As for an offensive weapon, and not the kind of offensive that gets you banned off of YouTube, support me on Patreon, you get this doohickey that doesn't look like much of anything. A peg there, though. Let's go to her backpack and attach these strands from their ball joints. Yada. And this peg is gonna plug right into there, like so. And one more time. And that mysterious peg is actually for her wrist. And I think this arm cannon looks pretty cool. Might not be for everybody, but it should have been in the instructions. I mean, it is, but not the part about removing those back kibble strands. Jesus Christ. Should have just left the intrusion typo in, you mongoloids. And for a bigger weapon, mamma mia, a whole ass lance. That is super impressive. Not the best fit though. Really love the look of this thing, like that strand of clear plastic throughout the whole thing. Just watch out for that handle. Look at how thin and fragile it looks. Just like my sanity. And for her final accessory, a random collection of small stuff. Apparently these parts are only included if you order this figure from the show Z-Star, links in the description, but I don't know if it's worth using. It's not in the instructions how you use this thing, of course, but I assume it has to do with the small sword. You'd clip that in, plug this. Ow! It's fucking tight. I'm not even gonna bother putting it in all the way. Story of my sex life. And you plug that handle in there. I just don't know if this thing would come back out if I snapped it in there. And as we previously established, tiny, thin handles. I'd say it's not worth it, but you do you. And ouchie mama, that was all the one last important thing. How can I forget? Alright, since silver rubber is probably not possible, these just look out of place. Still feel good though. And And that concludes all the accessories you get with this figure. Really nice variety of stuff. A lot of display options you get here. And once again, if you want a full posability breakdown, watch that original NICEE video. But on this figure, there is just an added piece of kibble, which will be very relevant after the size comparison. Here's Figma Modic Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla, Transform Element OP Leader, the Mastermind Creations Azalea, we're so far removed from RC at this point, and the other nice sisters. Now, if this were a few years ago, I would have lost my shit and come. But I'm a bigger boy now and I can handle the sight of this degenerate display. So with that, let's get into the transformation, which is 99% identical to NICEE's. So again, watch that transformation if you're curious, but there are a few key differences. So right here at the shoulder pad, I'd recommend folding this all the way up and out. The original figure shoulder pads couldn't do that, by the way. Push these together like so. I find the way that they do it in the instructions is a bit clunkier, and you might risk chipping the paint off those shoulder pads with the feet rubbing up against them. But with the way that I do it, the feet can just sit within the shoulder pads, no problem. And for the other new pieces in the puzzle, this folds down and plugs in like so. Fits together really well if you can get everything aligned. There you go. And now you want to bring in that new canopy and the piece we use for the arm cannon. These two attached together, and this whole thing goes on top of here. Plugs in well, and let's position these to plug into the new piece. Take some fiddling around to get it all in place. And of course, I don't mind fiddling around with this figure. But once you do, look at how complete that looks. But it really isn't complete. You want to bring in the bunny ears. Fold those up, and those plug into the sides of the spoiler. And now I can say, this car mode is amazing. I thought the original NICEE mode did a great job at hiding a feminine figure in a car mode, but Mooka just perfected it. As you can tell, all of that extra kibble resulted in a more cohesive, more complete looking car mode. Even the Kuzi, while still present, is not as distracting with the addition of new back detail. This is just such a nice vehicle mode. Even got an opening canopy and everything. Well, join here. Love the integration of clear parts on the front. The color scheme works. Only real complaint I have about this isn't necessarily with the car itself, but just the fact that all the accessories that we talked about, minus the canopy and the bunny ears, don't go anywhere. Even this cool looking shield can't plug in. No weapon storage at all. So just keep all the extra stuff in a baggie for safekeeping, which I'll do because I might leave this figure in car mode. I didn't think I could feel this way about a vehicle, and it doesn't even have to do with what's on the bottom. Get that out of here. Just give me the shapely curves of this automobile. And let's just move on to the size comparison before things get a little heated. Here's Modica, Godzilla, Prime, Azalea, and the other NICEEs. With an appealing robot mode and an absolutely stunning vehicle mode, I believe Mooka truly is EX-01 Plus. Just that bit better than the original NICEE. Now, excuse me. I think I may have some business to attend to with this car. Thank God it's not November.